Okay, y'all, we are here and ready to go and talk about the stuff that needs to be done. Are we all ready? Are we all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's go
I think
then.
we are. I
All right,
think we
let's
are.
go. Let's rock the intro. Hoot and hollering, hollering and hooting. What is up, y'all? What is going on? Let me get a little bit closer to the mic. Let me do that. You know who it is. It is us at
Let
Diversity
me
here
adjust.
to just kick it on up, big doggy style with y'all. It's your boy QuamanstarG along with Aaron and Avia, and we got some turkey to talk with y'all. So don't get too jive with us because there's no JTs over here. So did you miss me?
Oh my
Did you?
God.
Um, so now that we got the cool intros out the way, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna toss it on over to the biggest of big homies, Aaron, and he's gonna set the table dressing of what we got planned for y'all tonight.
So what had happened was, I don't know if y'all know this, but Hollywood has shut down. Uh SAG-AFTRA has decided that they're going to strike in solidarity with WGA, which we have been talking about since the beginning, I believe in May. We called that this was going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and we have a lot of thoughts because this affects not just actors. It also, just like with the writer strike, it affects non-union actors. It affects influencers. It affects podcasts. It affects a lot. Basically, I know it's Sunday. um Q, I'm sure you're gonna drop one, but I have to drop the classic MDF bomb. This is literally fuck around and find out with these executives. And I just, it
Very
couldn't
Period.
much.
happen. It couldn't happen to a better industry because there's going to be a lot of, we can pick up on this particular thing in like a future episode, but there's this massive labor unionization that's happening across the country, and a lot more things are going to be struck. And I think this is just the beginning. But back to Hollywood, Fran said what she said, little surprised, little shook. That's how she became the nanny. She got style and flair. Like, it just, man, Hollywood. We love to see it. And there's a lot of snafus going on. A lot of people don't want to admit that. We can jump into that too. I know Q has a lot to say about one particular actor who is putting a banana in the tailpipe, so to speak, with certain aspects regarding the strike. And I have some thoughts on that too. And so, yeah, it's a lot. And it's only been what, a week? It's only been a week so far. And everybody's showing their ass with this strike.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're gonna wait for Avia to come back in. She's just making sure her technicals are not difficultying right now. But yeah,
Indubitably.
I, for one, I just want to personally say that knew this strike was going to be happening sooner than later, um, because of the simple fact that we are at a junction now where they the big studios, they're getting a little bit too brazen with their shenanigans, to say the least. Um, and especially in terms of AI being like the big point of contention. Yes, we got pay and likenesses and things like that. All are big things, but the number one sticking point that I've been able to glean and from all of this is just how severe the AI is threatening the livelihood of not just big actors or small, like all of actors. So the fact that there's a lot of scary verbiage in these negotiations that basically gives these studios carte blanche to use AI in their most insidious of manners is very concerning, and any and every actor should want to eliminate that from any sort of verbiage so they can maintain themselves, which is a scary thing to even like say, because like the notion that they wouldn't be able to be themselves, be the people that, you know, will lose like their likenesses more or less, is the number one, like I'm like that's some scary shit, for lack of a better term. And what I'm glad to see, because I know when it was first, after short, I want to say about maybe a couple of weeks after the writers initially went on strike, you know, there was rumblings that the Actors Guild would soon follow, and people tried to make it seem like, oh, Fran was out of the loop or was aloof to it, and she would not, you know, go ahead and push for a strike if necessary. And she's very much pulled out her fuck around and find out flow chart to show that she is about that life in terms of fighting for it. Um, I am not surprised that the studios basically, you know, yanked the chain of the actors, because originally it was going to be a July 1st deal that they were going to go on strike, but then they delayed it until recently, the 12th, for that decision to be made, because they were hoping that the studios were going to be looking back over their demands in good faith. But in reality, they just wanted to get the Mission Impossible, Barbie, and Oppenheimer premieres, oh, you know, under their belt, so they can, you know, have all these actors for these three tentpole films that hopefully put money in these studios' pockets. And they really did not have any intention of renegotiating at the table in any time period. So I'm happy the actors are joining the writers and striking it on up, and fighting for their rights and their livelihoods to be better. Because you know, it's easy for people to sit here and go, well, you know, they're actors and they make millions upon millions of dollars and endorsements and blah blah blah. But this isn't just for your hot actor du jour or your seasoned actor. You know, this is for the background actors. These are for the up and coming actors. These are for the actors trying to get their foot in the door. This isn't just for the top 1% that, you know, would that exist out there. This is for the 99 to 100% for actors. And I would say that finding out the residuals that these folks get paid is some tragic. I'm gonna toss it on over to Avia so she can go ahead and give her very articulate thoughts and opinions on the situation.
This has been a long time coming. You know, for the past 10 years, you know, since streaming really has become the prominent source of consumer content, you know, actors haven't been given the residuals that they owed, or like if they have gotten residuals, they've gotten smaller and smaller and smaller over the years. And I've, you know, it's not necessarily a trend, but it's just facts coming out that a lot of actors, ones who necessarily aren't big or aren't really well known or who aren't really secured in as far as financially, like some of the actors that we know, they put on TikTok, you know, they posted all over social media about the amount of residuals that they actually get, which is like very, very small. Like it's sad. Like it is very sad how much they do not get paid as much as they should. Because like I've said previously, like being on set is an all day thing. Like you will be on set for 18 hours, if not more hours a day. And the fact that they only get paid that much for hard work and people are still consuming that content and only getting paid that much, that's wrong. That's so wrong. And one thing I did appreciate is that when the actors went on strike, you know, some of the actors, when the writers went on strike, some of the actors were already out there striking with them, like on the picking line anyway. So that's good because they realize that these are the people who give us our jobs. If the writers didn't write anything, we would be working right now. And having that solidarity with the writers was incredible. And it only grew since SAG went on strike. And I was telling Aaron this yesterday. Like the industry or any industry is a body. Different parts of the body are used for different reasons. The body has to work together in order for it to work. And that's something that these executives don't understand. Like they think that, you know, they just are the ones who run everything. Like they think they're the brain of the operation. Like, no, you're not the brain. You're not the brain. The brain is someone who comes up with the concepts, who helps the other organs, the other body parts. They tell them what to do. And who is that? That's the writers. So the writers come up with these ideas. They're the ones who conceptualize these ideas, and everyone else flows through that. And I just think if they understood it that way, they'll realize just how important everyone else besides these executives are in this field. And the fact that they were trying to starve the writers out. They're like, we're gonna, we're gonna stretch this thing out.
I think Avia kind of faded on out, but
Where'd I fade out? Where'd I fade out at?
you were talking. Your last word I heard was the writers, and you was like going to have a good anecdote, and then it froze out.
Okay, did I get to, were you able to hear the body comparison?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, y'all heard that part. Okay. Well, the executives were trying to starve the writers out. They're pretty much like, you know what, we'll keep y'all out here until you're pretty much begging for your job back. That's not right. That's not okay. Y'all still don't respect them enough to come to the table to come to some sort of, agreement or some sort of negotiation to where the writers are getting paid the amount they deserve and get the residuals that they deserve, and not try to use AI as a replacement. Like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Trying to replace writers with AI. And SAG, of course, actors, they're the face of the film. So, as soon as SAG came to the, whispers that SAG was going to strike, that's when the executives were like, oh, we have a issue. Like, we have to try to come to some sort of negotiation. Like you said, of course they didn't do it till July 12th so that they could promote, their blog, their movies that they want to promote. But it's just like, y'all were so quick to come to the table with the actors, which of course they should, but why aren't y'all, where was this when it came to the writers? Where was this hastiness to negotiate contracts and all this stuff for the writers? Where was it? Non-existent. And they did the same thing with the DGA. Like, they came to the table quick to the point to where, the DGA was happy with the deal that they got, to the point where they didn't even need to strike. So why is it that these executives cannot seem to understand that these writers, actors, everyone else are not getting paid that they deserve, but yet y'all are getting paid millions a year? And the amount that y'all are losing from not paying these writers and actors, y'all could have used that to pay the residuals that were owed. And it's just, I don't know. I'm glad that they're sticking together and there's solidarity between the two unions, because it needed to happen, and there needed to be some kind of cohesion. Because I think there, like, as far as like writers and the actors, not necessarily a divide, but now they understand just how much they need each other.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right, and I mean, I also think that's a result of the bubble popping. Like I always say about Hollywood, the bubble getting so big and popping that most of these writers have to become actors.
Mm-hmm.
And
You froze
I
on that
don't
last one.
know
You froze on
what
that
just
last
happened on my
part.
computer. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want me to tell the truth, and it's okay. I'll just be AI, just like they want me to. But I'm just going to reiterate again that because the bubble popped, about 10 years ago, most of these writers had become actors in order to get their work seen in the first place. And that's the issue.
That is the
Mm.
truth. I mean, when it comes on down to it, when we think about everything, excuse me for leaning forward, I just don't like the way my mic has always been shorter, so I can't just put it down on the table and it stays in the range where I feel like I'm being heard clearly and not far away. Um, it's very aggravating to say the least to look at this whole situation and know it could have been prevented, but just so much greed and more importantly, lack of awareness has put everyone in this position where they now rightfully have to beg. Well, I even hate using the word beg because they shouldn't even have to beg, but that's more or less what these people have been reduced to is now like begging for their rights that should have been given to them from Jump Street as far as what they're owed, the rights of their likenesses, which shouldn't even be disputed, but these studios are trying to put clauses to make that something that is disputed. One of the most egregious things I read was in the negotiations, or rather what the studios want to implement is that a background actor can show up for a project, have their face scanned, get paid a day's work, but their face is now the property and ownership of the studio, and they can use it whenever and wherever they want without ever paying royalties to that individual. And that's some scary shit because that's the pipeline to inevitably doing that to even more and more substantial actors, and basically cut out paying actors entirely and only just fully doing some weird bullshit with AI and other falsehoods to try to give off the illusion that these individuals have agreed to be a part of it. A lot of people have pointed this out. The Black Mirror season premiere, Joan is Awful, literally is a textbook example of what the fuck they're trying to do. Um, like it's so prophetic, and people will always say it's about this is Black Mirror. This is what Black Mirror is always doing, being prophetic in terms of where the world is going. I think a little bit too much, but in this instance, they've been right on the money in terms of what these studios are trying to do in terms of fucking over these creatives, these actors, and as we've seen, the writers in terms of how they're trying to use AI to cut them out completely and just go, here you go, AI brain, you're going to write everything for us. Here you go, AI brain, you're going to make or put the faces where we want you to put the faces, and we're also going to take their voices and make them say what we want them to say, and et cetera, et cetera. Just this crazy dubious pipeline that they've created for themselves. And it doesn't help that you have idiots like Bob Iger, like David Zaslav, who've come out with these half-assed, tone-deaf platitudes about the writers and the actors and how they believe that, the actors don't really know what they're asking for because it's too much and they should kind of temper their expectations, just showing how out of touch he is. The numerous David Zaslav decisions and words he's done, as far as the writers and, as we're seeing with the actors as well. The fact that earlier this week, it was revealed that some major studio individuals were saying that as far as the writers go, they're going to just wait them out until folks start losing their homes, and then they're going to have to take whatever deal they give them, which is some of the most.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like they were going to try and starve them out. Yeah, they were going to try and starve them out to the point to where they are begging for their jobs back. I'm like that's ridiculous.
That's outrageous. That is ridiculous. That's all of the big words we can use to describe how much of a tragedy. Odium. It's an odium. It's scandal. It's just the worst. And so,
Classist and egregious.
yes,
Yep.
it is. Dare I say, I'm not gonna say that just yet. But
It
I
is,
will
though.
say that it is a sobering reality and a reminder that it truly doesn't matter what type of industry you work in, whether it's labor, whether it's retail, even when you achieve your dreams and you take on a job that is outside the norm. It's outside the norm of what an average person. You still have to fight for your rights, effectively fight for your equal pay, fight for your equal, that your rights are not going to be trampled when you get this money. And it's really just like, if the actors have to do this much, and we, not want to go like spread it out between athletes, actors, et cetera, et cetera. But I said it at the top. I was shocked at learning how many actors get paid basically peanuts for the residuals for their iconic roles, or their God, the word is escaping me, and it's a very not hard word, for their contributions to these projects. It's literally egregious,
They're
and
letting the chopper sing on that. Like, they're going on social media and showing their residual checks. Like, yo, this is what I made on this show. Nothing. Or $3.99 or $27.30. Like, they are letting the chopper sing on how much they really don't get paid. Because
and it's
everyone, like,
and it's just so crazy to me, because it's one thing learning about them being underpaid. It's another thing learning that not only are they being underpaid, which is entirely fucked up, but there are active campaigns by these studios to just cut them out completely, so they don't ever have to be paid for their work. Not just as far as the actors, but the writers as well. That they try to, Stephen DeKnight, who did Daredevil, that's like one of the most famous things he's been a part of. He was explaining on Twitter how not only were Netflix, he was like, when he signed on for the Daredevil, his contract said he gets a little bit something on the back end. He said basically, yeah, I knew Netflix wasn't going to try to honor that. But then when Disney ended up getting it, Disney did basically try to injunction them out of anything that, like, not just the backhand stuff, but anything in regards to the show. And this was something that they spent multiple years, 3 seasons in total, on crafting this character and adding to, his IP that Disney owns. And rather than being paid fairly and equitably for doing that, for making that accomplish, Disney's trying to cut them out entirely and pocket all of the money. And they literally contributed nothing to that interpretation of Daredevil, yet they want to use the actor and the likeness for future Daredevil projects on the back of you remembering the Netflix series. The Orange is the New Black, one of the actresses on there, she basically was like, yeah, my residual check was $56, and being a foreign actress who do overseas projects is already rough for me, because I got to do extracurricular stuff there. But when I come over into the States and get casted as a role, they figure they can super underpay me because they don't value me as much as in-states actor. And then you compare the in-states actors who also are not being valued. It's just a completely fucked up situation.
and I think it's interesting that now that the actors can't really do anything as far as promotion, like they can't go on social media, they can't do podcast appearances, like they can't go to premieres, like nothing. Like, they are your face. They are the first thing that people think of when it comes to a film. And now they any chance of getting people interested because of the specific actor or actress is gone now. I mean, granted, people probably go see it because they're fans or whatever, but it's just like, any chance now that you had of getting people interested is gone. Because people see how you treat actors and the writers. Why? I mean, we need to support so that the
Yeah.
write those and actors, and the actors who act in wardrobe, hair, makeup styles, grips, all of them can get paid, for for all that. But it's just these studios, they thought that you know that actors were like, oh, it's not, they're gonna strike, but they don't realize just how accessible actors have become. It used to be, back in the day, they were like, they felt not necessarily impossible. It's like distant. It was more distant, but now social media is that tool to where like an actor can go on live and or they can show, on social media the residual checks and show people what's going on. And they don't realize how like there's a difference in equity. Like an actor might not get paid the residuals that they deserve, but they have the followers now. It's like a not necessarily a balance, but now that it's more followers since social media has been on the rise for the past like 10 years. It's now the followers and being verified. And now they didn't think that it was going to get this. I guarantee you, they didn't think it was going to get this much attention, this much buzz, because SAG hasn't gone on strike in 60 years, since the 80s. That's because they were comfortable. Like once they made that deal, the actors were comfortable because they were getting paid the amount they deserved. Like if you look at certain actors' contracts when it came to sitcoms back in the day, like by season 11 of Friends, they were making $1 million an episode. They were making $1 million by season 11 per
You know
episode.
how I feel about that.
Right. So they were comfortable to where they were making money to where they could, they could afford homes, they can live comfortably, if not lavishly. And now, if you're on a streaming show, that's pretty impossible now.
Oh, that, yeah, 100%. That is. I literally cannot think of any show that could lead to that. And I mean that also comes with how streaming services always want to cancel everything if it's not an immediate hit, thanks to several TV shows in the last 10 years. But you know what's funny? And I'm not going to get too detailed in it because, we're not going to do the Disney nerd thing. But honestly, this entire reaction with SAG finally striking, somebody's going to be really happy with me saying this. You can easily go back to a case that happened way back 31 years ago with a film called Aladdin. Because I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, Robin Williams, he was like, you can only use 25% of, everything involving myself and I can't not remember his name, but the guy who ran to DreamWorks, he was just hell bent on creating this space, which a lot of executives like him are thinking now, which is, if like you were saying, if you're going to use the face, let's make it V market. And when for a while, when you think of even now when you think of Aladdin, you think of Robin Williams, and Robin Williams was pissed about that because that's against the contract he made. And it was literally in black and white, and he had to do a lawsuit for it just to get them to take like just a little portion of the genie. So whenever on the box art of the Aladdin covers and stuff, you'll only see the genie at the top because of that reason. And honestly, they should have struck for things like that, because ever since that case, it's literally been downhill from there, because the next thing was, obviously they're going to take the likenesses and make these zombies out of them eventually, because there was a whole film with oh, I can't think of his James Dean that they wanted to do. They were literally going to, bring James Dean's likeness and all that stuff and AI him into a film. And I'm just like, that's
If you think about it, kind of
y'all should
started
have struck
already
sooner.
doing that. They already started little by little. They started doing it little by little. Like I remember in Star Wars when they AI in Rogue One when they
Mm,
AI because
Leia.
he was dead. The actor was the actor passed. Leia too. They did Leia too. So
Yeah.
it's like they already started
Oh yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
But now, it's like they want to put in the contract where now we can actually do it, and and it's in your contract to where we can make that happen. It's like,
Nobody
Yeah,
sees the weirdness.
I
right.
I just I just think about some of the things that are being brought to light, and like to touch back on Aaron's amazing Aladdin analogy or history lesson rather. Um, it just shows just how little these studios will care about these actors when even when they're putting things in writing. You know, I'll just go ahead and bring this up because it's recent events. It's not the point that Aaron thinks I'm going to go on because I'm not going to touch on that just yet. I'm going to save that
No,
one.
no, we could.
No, because I want to
Yeah.
because I'm not
I
because
know.
no,
I know.
I, I I feel
Yeah.
like that one is a larger point because too many people are being conflicted or saying
Yeah.
conflicted things when it's a lot more cut and dry. And I want to touch on something larger with that point, but I'll touch on this point because it's just as recent, if not a little bit more. Um, this is like yesterday, I believe, the Haunted Mansion
Mm-hmm.
Oh
happened,
man.
and they
Yeah.
had instead of that since the actors weren't there, it had it at Disneyland, so they had the performers at Disneyland there. Um, and what I've seen is people try to dispute that those people aren't scabbing because it's a studio production and they're there, et cetera, et cetera. They're not like even though they are playing a role, they don't think that they're not part of the whole ecosystem, between SAG official people and non-SAG and things like that. My retort is it's not so much of the action but the position that they're being put in because this is 100% a calculated effort by Disney. This is
Mm-hmm.
a 100% calculated effort by Disney to see if the SAG is going to implement any sort of blacklisting for these individuals for basically filling in for the actors who have elected to exercise their right to strike and therefore are not going to be promoting any films moving forward until their demands are met. And they're going, okay, you're going to do that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have these actors who play these characters at our Disney theme parks walk the red carpet. And we're going to see if you're going to blacklist these individuals who, let's just say what it is, they're like this is where this is why striking is such a very 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 important thing because it exposes these companies greed and their depravity because basically it's like okay, we're taking advantage of these individuals who are working these Disney theme parks trying to earn a living, have no real intention or haven't been in a position to make up their minds on where they stand just yet, and we're basically forcing them to portray our characters at this movie premiere knowing that it's going to go against everything, and we're giving them little time to truly make a stand on anything because what I've interpreted from this, and I want you know to open this dialogue, is that they've effectively put these actors who playing these characters in a position where if they did take a stance, then yeah, the SAG won't blacklist them, but we will. Well, the studios will blacklist you. You're not big. You're not,
Mhm.
gosh darn, Margot Robbie. You're not Matt Damon. You're not Florence Pugh or anyone like that. regular person number 5 trying to get your foot in the door. And yeah, you can go ahead and strike, but now we know your names. Now we know what you're going to do. And that is very much a fear factor in all of that. So
it's blackmail. It's like blackmail, because it's or quote unquote playing, not like if they don't go on strike, it's playing the game, because they're finishing what the executives want them to do, which is they're playing ball, which is to take these spots of these actors who are supposed to be there, and they're putting, like I said, they're putting them in this very dangerous situation, because let's say one of them does want to be a part of SAG, like in the near future. And if they find out, because the pictures are there, like there's evidence of the workers at Disney who were there, like and they can't really get in, or they get blackballed because of it.
Yep. And I feel like again, Twitter failing in having the best and failing in having the most simplest of conversations. I feel like the conversation should be protecting these character actors and letting them know that they have they should have the confidence to still go out on the picket lines and strike with the rest of the SAG and everything like that. I feel like that should be and granted, I'm like I definitely will seek more details on it and everything, but I just feel like too many people are focusing on thinking that these people went, and I hate to say it, but this is the reality. Some of them might have said, forget the strike. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what's best for me. And that's not advisable, but I still believe that we should also 100% put the blame on these big studios for basically forcing these type of things. And this, I just want to let y'all know, this is what's going to be the move. I personally feel that the strike ain't going to end no time soon. I feel like the strike is going to go into Oscar season, because clearly, as we know, the studios I feel like this is going to happen. The studios will try to feign any sort of negotiations around the time of the Marvels or Snow White, whenever long come, even Dune, because those are big tentpole movies and they're going to want some sort of promotion, but the actors are not going to go for it. And it's going to reach a point where it's going to be, you guys can either give everybody what they want, the actors and the writers, or when the Emmys roll around, when the Oscars roll around, there is not going to be anyone there to accept it, except for maybe the directors, because they foolishly signed their extension instead of striking as well and getting what they probably could have gotten from it.
Because the Emmys are in September, and the Emmy nominations came out like the day before, or the day of, I can't remember, but very close to right before the writers went on strike.
It was a tactic.
And it was a tactic, because let's say if the actors still and the writers are still on strike by like September 18th, I think that's what you said when we looked up the date yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, September 18th. If they don't come up with a solution like a week before that, like nothing. Like they're not gonna have anything. And that's just not the actors, that's not just actors and writers either. It's like I said, you have the hair and makeup people, and people who were supposed to be there can't be there, but rightfully so, because they're fighting for their right to a livelihood. And so if they don't go this year, so what? That's my opinion. Like if they don't go this year, it is what it is, because we have to figure out what is more important. A day of glitz and glam, or being able to eat and not worry about where my next check is coming from. Because that's what these executives don't understand. Like they're fighting because a lot of people who work in Hollywood, like we see certain actors, certain directors, certain writers who make money. Yeah, some of them make a lot of money. but that's only like 5% of Hollywood. But the other 95% scrape, script, and work. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. All the actors and writers, directors who make a lot of money, they work too, because otherwise they wouldn't make that much money. But they work too. They work their ass off too. I'm not gonna say they don't, but the other 95%, they work just as hard, but don't get the recognition that the other 5% do.
Right on the money. Right on the money.
It's a shame.
And just so there is no confusion whatsoever, just like with the writers, and this is going to go on with the actors as well, we at Multiversity stand right there, shoulder to shoulder with the SAG and the WGA. We stand with the actors and the writers as they fight for their right. I was going to say at a party because I really want to make
I know, right?
Well, we
animators too. Animators too.
Yeah, and animators.
Yes, we fight. We stand with them. We stand with these current strikes. We stand, of course, we stand with animators in every aspect of the way. We just want folks who create the things we love to be treated fairly, paid equitably, and have their likenesses to themselves and not stolen from them by these big corporations. So yeah, moving forward, we're going to be reviewing some in solidarity with the strike. We're going to be reviewing some ideas we've had and adjusting them so we're not basically giving any shine to any of these studio productions moving forward. We're not gonna they've said that they're not calling for a full-on boycott of these things because that isn't us. That's not where they're going to yet, because they want to show these studios that they're worth it. They're worth what they're acting for. However, that does not mean we're going to give these studios free promotions on these things. That's not right. We're not going to be doing that. So yeah, we're going to be making sure our content is strike appropriate and in line with what they're going for, and everything. To our viewers out there who are a part of SAG and everything, please let us know what we can do directly to help, and also, help guide us in which content to do and what not to do, and everything as such as that. So, yeah. And I also want to add, I want the next group of individuals to strike to be the voice acting community.
God, yes.
I'll say this, and I don't want to go too much into it, because that is something that is its own section of everything in terms of how they are treated. But it does fall in the same purview as the animation goes. But if voice actors consistently get screwed over, AI is basically what was that's basically the voice actors were the first ones to feel the burn of AI, because it's easier to just take what voice actors have said over the course of their lengthy careers and craft an AI algorithm or whatever the case may be to utilize it. So they're the next ones that need to go on strike. But I think I genuinely think that they need to be the next ones, especially when it comes to things like the video game industry, who religiously do voice actors dirty in a myriad of ways. Just shut it all down, y'all. Shut it all down until y'all get what y'all feel like y'all deserve. Voice actors, animators, writers, VFX artists. That's another major group that's super duper needs to strike, because if the VFX folks strike, it's a wrap. You might as well call it, because they have been with the overdredge of superhero cape shit content that has permeated the media space over the last 20 years, and the increasing bullshit that VFX artists have to endure to accommodate these these spectacles, yeah, they need to go on strike, and yeah, that needs to happen post haste, and let these studios understand what the hell they're messing with.
Like Ben Affleck, I agree. That's a good way to end in this one, because I think talking about the effects of what happens with influencers and the miscellaneous things, I think that's its own thing.
Yeah, but in any case, we're Remote Diversity, and we stand with the writers, we stand with the actors out there striking, and we hope the rest of the entertainment industry strikes as well to get what they deserve. Just strike.
Strike it up.
Yeah, if you like,
Yep.
if you're down with this message, like, comment, subscribe, do what you need to do, hit the bell. Anybody got their final thoughts before we close it on out?
Just continue the solidarity. Like that's what it all comes down to. Like I said, the Hollywood system is a body. One organ can't function without the other. And that's something that needs to be understood. And it's a collective, it's a coalition, and the fact that they're starting to come together. Keep it up. Hollywood is burning. Like like let it. At this point, like, it needs restructuring. It needs a new foundation. Like, all of it.
Yep. Aaron, you got anything? You got any quick final words?
Yeah, actually, I do. David Zaslav, Bob Iger, and the myriad of others, we're just going to name the two that everyone immediately knows, are the Rupert Murdoch of the 21st century in entertainment. And everybody's got to tighten up, because it's just going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And come on, people, tighten up. Literally hold the line. Just hold the line. Don't give in, because it's not going to be. This is not going to be an easy one. This is a massive shift for entertainment, and I could argue education. That's a whole other topic I'd get in later. So come on, people, keep the hope alive.
I feel you on that one, 110%. Every time I look down, I just get more and more depressed. But
I'm right.
But in any case, we're gonna holler at y'all later.
Peace.
Peace. Chicken grease.
Yeah.
Okay.